We're getting close to wrapping up our ticket app on Linux. In this video, we're going to put in place a way to edit existing tickets. Now, this video is part of a series dedicated to developing C# applications on Linux. Along the way, we've gained a better knowledge of how Linux works and how to make our apps truly cross-platform. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel to stay informed of new episodes as they come out, as well as new series and new content. And if you're looking for even more .NET, SQL, and C# training, go to iamtimcorey.com. That's what funds this free content. Okay, let's jump over to Linux. We're going to work on our ticket. And what we're going to do is let's again work on the code first, and then we'll go into working on the HTML. So what we're going to do is let's put an extra line here. And we're going to say private ticket update model, and that's nullable, and say edit ticket. So this is the model we'll use to edit the ticket. Now what we're going to do is, I'm just going to show you real quick, up here where we have each of our tickets listed, we're going to do a inline edit. So if you hit a button that says, I want to edit one particular row, it's going to change from displaying the data to being an edit form. So that's what we're going to do. This will be the ticket that we work on. Let's go ahead and put a new method in here called private void edit ticket. This is going to start the edit process. We're going to say ticket model, ticket. Now, this model being passed in is whatever row you're on, that's what we're going to edit. So that's the data that's going to come in is a model from a specific row. So we're going to then populate our edit ticket equals new, and then we'll put curly braces here and not on the same line, on the new line. There we go. The same line will be like for JavaScript, but this is C#. So we're going to say ID equals ticket.id, ticket title. Nope. There we go. Wow. So when I say comma, it wants to put a autocomplete, which we don't want. There we go. Ticket title equals ticket.ticket title, or empty string if it's a null value. And then ticket description equals ticket.ticket description or empty string. And then we're going to say date completed equals ticket.date completed. And then priority equals ticket.priority. So this is taking the existing record and create a new record in the new structure, the new ticket update model, with the values from the ticket we're going to edit. Okay, that's all we're going to do. That's going to then allow us to edit the ticket. So, and what we're going to do is we're going to show or hide this based upon if this edit ticket is null or not. So that's all you need to do to start the process of making an edit. Now, here we're going to say private async task, save edit async. And this is where we're going to actually save this. So if edit ticket is null, then we want to say no, return, because you can't save something that's just null. Then we're going to have a try. And we're going to say is saving equals true, and error message equals null. And then await ticket API dot update ticket async edit ticket, and then edit ticket equals null, and then await load tickets async. So we're going to make sure we can't do a double edit. We're going to clear out the error message. We're going to update the ticket. Let's put a line return there. And then once we've done the update, then we're going to set the edit ticket to null and refresh the page with the new information. So let's go ahead and catch this. Exception EX. And like before, we're going to do the error message equals $failed to update ticket and ex.message. And again, we're going to have a finally here. And what that's going to do is say is saving equals false, which again re-enables those buttons. So that is the save edit async. So when we say yes, go ahead and save these edits, that's what's going to happen. And then we have one more method to do, and that is private void cancel edit, which is in line with our cancel update or cancel insert. I think it is cancel create. That's what it is. Edit ticket equals null, which again sets that to null, which means it's going to hide the form. Okay, so there's our save, there's our cancel, and there's the start of the process for editing. Okay, so now let's put this in line. So let's come up here to our body. And we have this for each. Right now we have this for every record. But instead, what we're going to do is we're going to do an if statement. So I'm going to cut this out for now and say at if edit ticket, if it's not null.id equals ticket.id. So if a ticket's null, then we skip this, because if we can't check an ID equals this, because it's definitely not that, because they don't match. So that's our if statement, and then we're going to have an else here, and then we're going to have our old code back. So there is, actually, you know what? I need to highlight all of these and tab them one and indent them. So if the edit ticket is null, we go to the else statement and just put the row. But if the edit ticket's not null and the ID matches the ticket ID of this particular row, then show the edit form. Otherwise, just show the row. Okay, so we're going to need a row here. So we're going to say tr, and then we're going to say td, which is at ticket.id, because we're not going to allow the editing of the ID. But then we're going to have a td, and we're going to have an input text, and say class equals form control. And then we'll have a at bind dash value equals to edit ticket dot ticket title. And let's unpin this or close that so you can actually see this, and then self-close this row, or this is input. So that's going to be the edit field for this. And then what we'll do is we will have another TD. And in fact, let me just copy this and paste it, because typing is annoying. Ticket description. So then we have our one more, this is the input number. And this is going to be priority. And then we will have our date created. We're not going to mess with. So we're going to say td and say ticket.date created. Created. If it's not null, then to short date string, like so, like you did before. And then we're going to have another input. So we'll paste this in, but it's going to is input date, which is a form control. We're going to say date completed, so you can modify that. It's a date picker. And we could say no. You just want to say checkbox that says incomplete. We could do that. I'm just going to let you pick the date, because maybe you did complete it yesterday or tomorrow. If you want to have a checkbox, you could do that. And then what you do is you would have in your method down below, before you modify anything, you would check that value and say, oh, if that's checked, then put datetime dot UTC now, or UTC now. So, but we're just going to allow you to pick the date. And then I'm going to want a TD here with a button. Type equals button. And class equals BTN and BTN small and BTN success. And margin end of 2. And disabled equals, you probably should be familiar with this by now, at is saving. And then let's actually put this on the new line, indent it, and say at on click equal to save edit async. And we'll call this save. Not Dave, save. There we go. Sorry, Dave. So then we want one more button. So let's just copy this button. It's the same basic structure. But instead of success, we're going to say secondary. And you won't put a margin end on it because it's the second button. And we're going to say this is cancel edit. And we're going to say cancel. Now notice I did put one more row than I have in my create. Well, I'm actually going to put an empty row here, th. I don't need to worry about putting a title in here. I could put like actions or something like that. I'm going to leave it alone. And down below, I'm going to put one more td. And here I'm going to put button. Type equals, actually, you know what? Let's just paste it in. Cool. BTN small. Let's do, instead of success, we'll do it primary. And still margin end. And disabled is saving. And on click, we're going to actually call a method. So we're going to do empty parentheses and say arrow and say edit ticket. And pass in the ticket that we're currently on. And we'll call this the edit button. All right. So if we're not, we can always edit a row just by hitting the edit button. So with that, I think we're good. Let's hit save and let's try this out. You can see what I was talking about. Wait for it to build and make sure that, I've thought through all the processes. Okay, loading up. There we go. It's a little slow. So it's running, it's healthy. We go to tickets. We now have an edit button after each of them. So let's edit my third ticket. Hit edit. And notice we now have a save and cancel button, and we actually have the ability to edit these three things. Now, as far as CSS goes, I'd probably want to center these two things. I haven't done that, but let's put exclamation point after third ticket. This is a medium ticket with a period at the end, and let's change the priority down to 4. And then the month, day, year, let's choose that we closed it on the 8th. And hit save. There you go. Exclamation point, period at the end, 4, date closed. If I go back and come back, yes, it is in the data. So we made a change. Let's make this change back because we want to make sure that, yes, it's a medium ticket, which was 3. That's it. So now we have edits in place. If you realize I put a margin end here, I think you'll know what's coming next. So in the next video, we're going to put a delete button here that allows us to delete a record. That's coming up next. Until then, the code for this is down in the description. So check it out if you want to get the latest version of the code. Thanks for watching. And as always, I am Tim Corey.